Hey everybody, how you doing? Please excuse me for one moment. Yeah! Alright, this will be One Piece chapter 1096 review titled Kumachi. Let's just dive right into it. After, of course, we tackle the cover page. It's a very integral cover page. Many of you might just think it's a normal cover spread that Oda drew, like fan art, like a request, like all the other ones, but no, this one actually has some interesting stuff to the story. We have Zoro playing a game of musical chairs in the middle of the forest with a bunch of chihuahuas. And he's losing from what looks like it, so I'm sorry, Zoro. This is the start of the new cover series, Zoro's Forest Adventures. He wandered off from Egghead and he ended up here somehow, you know? Actually, what if Zoro ends up in the God Valley flashback? Like, he got so lost, he's at Egghead fighting Lucci, and he just wanders into Vegapunk's time machine, because you know he has one, and he's just like, wow, man, that leopard guy must have ran in here. Zip, and he ends up at God Valley. That would be great. That would be fantastic. You can't say that wouldn't be peak comedy. All right, so we're starting right where we left off last chapter, guys. 38 years ago, God Valley, we are in the thick of it right now, okay? The Tenryubito are about to begin their extermination tournament on the island. They have killed their king. Garling just showed up, cut down their king. Remember, this is a non-allied island originally, has a lot of really valuable resources, as well as some extra prizes that the Tenryubito have placed on the island for the winners of this tournament. But all of the citizens have now been turned into rabbits, as the Tenryubito have referred to them as, to be released on the island to be hunted down by the nobles, okay, and the God's Knights, and everybody participating in this tournament, okay? So, while the Tenryubito are up there, like, explaining the rules to the tournament and, like, the point system and everything, the natives and the criminals and slaves that the nobles brought with them are just releasing. They're just, like, rushing to, like, oh God, we gotta get out of here, we're all gonna die! You know, like, they're running away. Meanwhile, Tenryubitos are like, okay, everybody, welcome to the extermination tournament. It's going to be a fun one. It's a little hot out today, so make sure you stay hydrated. We have a great hydration station over here. We have a buffet if you get hungry, all the fabulous food. All right, so this is how this all shakes down. There are over 10,000 rabbits that we have released on this island. Out of those 10,000, 150 of them are rare rabbits. You're going to get extra points if you take out those. Also, we have 13 super rare rabbits out there. You kill one of those, you get 10,000 points. Also, special points will be awarded if you get a critical hit, or if you get a really cool, like, just if you kill them in a really cool way, you're gonna get extra points that way, so that will be judged, keep in mind. No one attack yet. Tenryubito are already, like, firing into the crowd. They're always like, yahoo! Bam, 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 bam! I'm like, okay, everybody, all right, let's just calm down. We gotta give the rabbits we gotta give them an hour or so for them to scatter around the island. It's no fun when they all just cluster together and you can take them out in one go. Come on, we gotta wait for a bit here. This is messed up, man. This is sadistic as hell. You know, you gotta understand that this tournament has been done so many times at this point. If this has been going on ever since, like, the Void Century, or the government took over, like, 800 years ago, they are pros at putting the fear of death into these people, okay? Like, slicing down their king and just, like, this was just a normal day for these people. Can you imagine? Poor Billy wakes up to go open his bakery, and then all of a sudden, oh my God, the king is dead! Oh my God, the government's here! We're all gonna die! And then people just start running, like, what? You know, like, okay, yeah. So that's going on there. We get a look at some of the other God's Knights. We see Garling there, and he's like, all right, you pests, just hang tight. I'm the one that's gonna win this tournament. We have a young lady that's wearing, like, a Newsies cap, and she's got, like, world government pins, like, on the cap, and she says that the Manmeyer family is going to win. So Manmeyer, I guess we just found out another celestial dragon family name. We have, like, you know, the Don Quixote family, and we have the Figarland family, and now we have the Manmeyer family, which may or may not be related to the Oscar Mayer family. So I don't know. It's the Oscar Myers, you know, Saint Oscar Mayer, the creator of glorious hot dogs. You are one of the rulers of the world, you know, maybe. We see a dude that has a gas mask on, and he's kind of trash talking Garling, like, yeah, Garling, you're not gonna win this year. I got it now. He has a 46 on the gas gas mask. And we also see a dude that looks a lot like a prince. You know, like really neat hair and like the little frill thing that like Shakespeare had. He's like, yes, I am a prince. I'm just gonna bring this up. It's not the case, but it's something that just reminded me when I was like looking at these characters. Remember the orphans that were at the sheep's house or the lamb's house that Mother Caramel ruled over with, you know, like Big Mom and Elbaf and everything like that, right? So there was a kid that had the gas mask, and then there was also a kid that used to be like a prince, and he was kicked out of his kingdom or whatever. So I don't know. I'm seeing the kid with the gas mask, the guy with the gas mask here, and a princely looking dude, and I instantly thought of like the kids from Lamb's house, but pretty sure they were devoured by Big Mom, so it's irrelevant. And even if they weren't, they were orphans, not celestial dragons, not nobles. If you went from a orphan that was cast away, you know, all the way up to a God's Knight, that's a pretty good promotion, but I highly doubt that's the case. Just wanted to bring it up because it's something that just, you know, I just remembered. Okay, so as I said, the nobles are just firing into the crowd, so some people aren't even making it out of this alive. There are 200 nobles that are participating in the fight, so it's not just the God's Knights. Obviously, the God's Knights are going to be the ones that are expected to win this, you know, Garling or the gas mask dude or something like that. But regular Tenryubito can participate as well. This is like their recreation tournament, right? You know, so they're just firing off into the crowd, just, you know, taking out a couple of them, and it's like, okay, everybody, come on, let's give them an hour to kind of scatter around. And it's like, oh God, please, wait, somebody wake me up from this nightmare. There's a mother cradling her baby. She's like, oh God, what am I gonna do with my baby? And then the nobles are up there and they're like, oh, that's right, thank you for reminding me, miss. Babies, yes, if you slice a baby, you get an extra 100 points on the spot. It is like, that they don't actually say that, but I wouldn't doubt it if there was probably something like that. This is truly messed up. We now cut over to Navy HQ. We're gonna be cutting around a little bit here, okay? This is the original Navy HQ. This is Marineford, you know, like the original one where the battle took place, okay? So we see Kong back in the day. Now, I don't know if he was the fleet admiral at this point or he was just an admiral, because this was 38 years ago. This was a long time ago. Kong is currently the commander-in-chief of the Marines, the Cypher Pole, and the Warlords before they were abolished. During Roger's execution, so 24 years ago, he was the fleet admiral. He was the fleet admiral during Strong World, Chapter 0, but this was 38 years ago, so he might not be the fleet admiral at this point. He might be, but he might just be a regular admiral, right? So he is radioing Garp. Garp is 40 years old in this flashback, and he is currently on vacay. All right, he has a rough time. I'm sure Garp is already a vice admiral at this point. He hit vice admiral like a long time ago. He joined the Marines, I think, when he was in his early 20s. He's 40 right now. He probably hit vice admiral within the first decade, and he just never chose to get promoted beyond that, okay? So he's just chilling out on an island, listening to some tunes. You know, he's just having out on like one of those Shea lounges thing, and he's next to the pool, and he's just like, Kong, what are you calling me for? He's like, Garp, you gotta go to God Valley. Oh man, God Valley, that's all the way out in the middle of nowhere. Why are you sending me out that way? It can't be helped. I can't tell you. We're still trying to figure this out with the intel or whatever, but pirates are heading there, man. Rox is heading there. And Garp is like, dude, is this because of the Tenryubito's really messed up, like Olympic Games that they're doing? Dude, you got to I've been telling you for years, do not poke Hachinosu. It's called a beehive for a reason. You poke it, especially doing something what they did and take something away from there, their treasure, they're gonna come after you. So from what I understand from this logic here, is that the world government, specifically the Tenryubito or the God's Knights, like snuck into Hachinosu and stole the prized treasure of the pirate island and then left. And it is now the prize of this tournament, which is probably one of two devil fruits. It's either the Ua Ua no Mi model Azure Dragon, which seems to be that's the one it is, or it's the Paw Paw fruit. I'm thinking it's the dragon fruit because that's the one that like Kaido ends up getting, and you know, so it's like a big deal, obviously turning into a freaking dragon, and there might be only one of those in the entire world that allow you to turn into that thing, okay? So I'm thinking the Ua Ua no Mi model Azure Dragon was on Hachinosu. It was the prized treasure of Rox and the pirates of that island. The Tenryubito somehow got in there, stole it, brought it back, and are using it at God Valley for their prize in their extermination tournament. So Rox has found out about this. All the other pirates, because remember, Rox was not the only pirate crew on Hachinosu. It was called Pirate Island for a reason. There was a bunch of pirate crews that would all hang out there, okay? So they found out that, hey, they stole our fruit and they took it to God Valley. We're gonna go and get it back. So Garp is basically telling Kong, hey, they asked for this. You know, what did you think was going to happen? I kept telling you not to mess with that place, and you messed with it. So, you know, I'm on vacation, Kong. Sorry, can't help you. And, it was also mentioned at this point that the Marine escort was also increased. You know, like, I thought you sent more Marines because you were worried about that. You know, who cares? Garp doesn't really care about the Tenryubito at the end of the day. If they all get slaughtered by rocks, I'm sure Garp wouldn't lose any sleep over it. But then Kong brings up, oh, by the way, I wanted to tell you, Roger's also going to be there too. And instantly Garp is like, what? Huh? I'm on my way. Like, instantly Garp just shoots up and he just like, changes from, like, he rips off his Hawaiian shirt and his Marine outfit is just underneath it. Doesn't make any sense. He's like, oh, I'm on my way, and he just rushes off. So Garp is Roger's rival at this point, but also like maybe Garp is thinking like, oh no, what if Rox and Roger were to team up? Now, obviously, Roger and Rox are like opposite ends, like they're like enemies and stuff, but who knows what might happen if Roger and Rox get together. And even if they're not teaming up, if they just fight, that could result in a cataclysm, okay? So Garp is like, all right, you know, Rox alone slaughtering some of the world nobles, all right, I could deal with that. I'll be all right with that. I could just chill out by the pool while that's going on. Roger showing up with Rox there, oh boy, that's a recipe for disaster. I'm gonna get moving, okay? So we cut to Hachinosu very briefly where I'm not really sure exactly who's saying this. It's just the island. Like, we see the shot of the island and then a bunch of, like, speech bubbles. They're like, they beat us to it! The Rox pirates have already set sail! We've gotta get going too! Come on, boys! So I'm thinking that was the other members of, like, pirate crews that were on the island. So Rox headed out first. Rox was like, you know, oh, they stole our fruit. Where did they take it? We're gonna find out how they found out it was at God Valley in a second here. So it's like they found out it was at God Valley. All right, let's go, guys. Let's go. Load up. Whitebeard, Linling, Kaido. Let's go. Kaido, swab the poop deck. Because back at this point, Kaido was like an apprentice pirate. Like, let's go. So everybody gets on Rox's ship and they head out, okay? And these are the other pirates on the island. They're like, oh, damn, Rox already beat us to it. All right, come on, guys, let's go. And so now not only Rox, not only Roger, not only Garp, not only the Gods Knights, but other really strong pirates from this era are going to be arriving at God Valley. And are you guys excited? I'm excited. Okay, I'm just going to tune it down a little bit here. Okay, so we now cut back to God Valley in the West Blue, where Ivankov is giving a very impassioned speech. Ivankov, at like age 15, is gathering all of the slaves that he can together. So Kuma is there. There's a shark fishman there. Some other random people that are there. Some slaves, some natives from the island. They're just gathering them all together. And, you know, Ivankov is just going on and on about the injustice in the world. Like, how the hell is this world fair? You know, the 10,000 citizens on this island are classified as rabbits. We see that all of the rabbits in the hunt basically are wearing shirts that have like giant targets on their back. So like Kuma is there with a huge target on his back. I don't know about you. Personally, I would just take the giant target off my back, but whatever. Okay, they're a little bit stressed right now. It's cool. I understand. So they're all there, and Ivankov is trying to rally everybody together to formulate a plan to escape. So this is their plan. It's actually a really good plan, okay? Ivankov, you know, and Ginny work together on this, okay? So one of the first things is this tournament's going to last a period of 3 weeks. So this isn't just like 1 day, 2 days. No, they draw this out as long as possible. It's only once every 3 years, guys. You don't want it to be over just immediately, right? So this is essentially a 3-week manhunt, okay? Literally, in every literal aspect you can imagine, where they go through this island and they make sure no one is left alive. Now, one of the, I don't know if it's one of the citizens of God Valley or one of the other slaves, but he goes up to Ivankov and he's like, well, yeah, but on the plus side, if we can manage to survive for 3 weeks, we'll be let go. They said we would. And of course, Ivankov is like, you idiot, of course they're not going to let us go. The survival rate from every other one of these that has ever been held throughout history has been 0, okay? You don't think that, you know, like some slaves or some citizens at one point thought, like, okay, tell you what, I'm going to go hide in like a rock face or a cave or something for 3 weeks and hopefully I'll survive. No, they probably, after the tournament is over, they probably just gas bomb the island or whatever and just call it a day, you know, and they just bombard it so nothing can survive anymore, all right? They're not just gonna let you go. And one of the other dudes is just like, well, why would they tell us that they're gonna let us go if they're not gonna let us go? All right, it's a good thing Ivankov is there. I understand. They're going through a lot of stress right now. They're being hunted, and they're, like, being told, to, like, hey, if you survive 3 weeks, hey, maybe you'll make it out of here. Who knows? It's like, yeah, guys, the Tenryubito said they wouldn't kill us after 3 years. I think I'm going to trust them, you know? They seem like the stand-up fellas. Thank God Ivankov is there to bring a little bit of, like, reason to all this, and it's just like, no, they're not going to. The reason they told you they would let you go, it's because they give you hope. They dangle the meat in front of you. You know, they're not just going to, if they just told you you're all going to die no matter what, like, many people would probably just give up hope right there. They would probably just collapse and resign themselves to their fate, or just, you know, just shut down mentally. Like, they wouldn't have the survival instinct anymore if they were just going to die no matter what. This gives them the hope. This gives them the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, maybe if I find somewhere to hide, maybe if I could just go and just, oh, here's an old cave on the shore of the island. Nobody ever comes here. I'm just going to hide in this cave for 3 weeks and just eat shellfish. Maybe I'll survive. Maybe. No. They're going to kill you no matter what. They're going to find you and eliminate you. The Gods Knights all have observation hockey. You're not going to be able to hide from them. They're going to find you, okay? And so Ivankov is there, spitting straight facts. Meanwhile, we cut back to the tournament. Garling is just slicing through the competition. He's targeting all the super rare rabbits. He's already up 10,000 points, so he was docked 10,000 points when he killed the king as soon as he showed up, and now he scores a quick 10,000 points. So I don't know if he got all the way back to 0 or if he got another all the way to 10,000, but either way, he's blitzing through the competition. All right. We also have Den Den Mushi that are set up all over the island that are observing the whole thing. We have a quick shot of Marijwa, so I'm assuming that's all the people at, oh yeah, there's even, oh yeah, I see it, there's cheering in the Celestial Dragon City. So not all the Tenryubito are attending this, obviously not all of them at Marijwa. Some of them are still there in the Holy Land, and they're just probably observing this on the big screen. Like, yeah, Garling, go! Woo! Man, this is like the Super Bowl for these sick people. I mean, seriously, right? They're just like shouting at it like, oh man, I wish I got to go to the extermination tournament this year. They sold out. Darn it. Oh, man. So we cut back over. The shark fish man has used his strong jaws to break through the manacles, the chains. These are probably not sea stone, like Ivankov and Ginny and Kuma. They don't have devil fruits yet. So they managed to break free using the fishman's jaw. Ivankov thanks him and says, ah, as expected of a shark fishman, your bite strength is truly impeccable. And the fishman is like, oh my god, I've never been praised before because of my mouth. Thank you so much for that. Okay. Then we have Ginny. Ginny is working with all the Den Den Mushi, and she has like a pair of glasses on and everything, and she's like an expert in communication and Den Den Mushis and everything like that. And she's the one that actually leaked the info here. Ginny is an expert on, like, information, so she explains that, like, 2 of some of the strongest devil fruits in the entire world are on this island right now. There's the Ua Ua no Mi Model Azure Dragon, and there's the Niku Niku no Mi, or the Paw Paw fruit. By the way, minor tangent, but did you know if you go and just type in Paw Paw fruit into Google, there's an actual fruit called the Paw Paw fruit? Like, not related to One Piece at all, just a fruit that's called the Paw Paw fruit. Apparently it tastes like custard. Weird, right? Anyway, so, she's like, okay, if I gave a message to the pirates, now she didn't know that, like, what was gonna happen. She didn't know that, like, Rox and Garp and some of the strongest people in the entire world were gonna show up to this. But she leaked the information. So that's how Rox found out. So Rox headed out. So while all that chaos is going on, while the Gods Knights and the Tenryubito are busy dealing with the pirates, that's when they're gonna steal the dragon fruit and the paw fruit, and they're gonna get the hell off the island. So very smart move here. However, there is a little bit of a hiccup. Somebody does need to be a distraction while all this is going on, just to help them get, because they're not, the fruits are in the center of the island, so it's not going to be easy just to get to. And this is something they've probably also done for years now. It's like, oh hey, yeah, you little rabbits out there, if you know, we threw some devil fruits on the island too. Maybe you get to them. Maybe you manage to escape. Who knows? You know, give them a chance, right? Or at least think that they have a chance, right? So Kuma, though, remember, Kuma's only 9 right now. Immediately, Kuma's like, I volunteer as tribute. I mean, I volunteer to be the decoy. I will be the decoy here. If I can make sure, I'm bigger, I'm tougher, I'm stronger than most. I have a little bit more endurance. I know that I can, you know, I could be this decoy. I'll last a little longer than the others. And if it just helps just another person get away, then I will do it. So this is something, a life lesson he's learned from his father at this point, before his father was killed. And he's gonna help people, damn straight. So Ivankov lets out his trademark, hee-haw! Kuma, you are truly a magnificent human being, and I will make sure that you will not die. All right, we're all going to get out of here together. Absolutely. Thank you so much. So Kuma volunteers. He's going to be the decoy. Ginny is just surprised. Ivankov is excited. Like, let's get going. Let's get out of here. Let's toss off the chains of repression and dismantle this oppressive establishment board by board. All right. So, now, are you guys ready for Wang? Are you guys ready to meet the man of the hour? Because we kind of see him, but first, we got the headliners. We got the people that get introduced first, but the star of the show is honestly, actually, I think the last person to actually show up in the panel is actually Wang, so, say that whatever you will. All right, here we go, everybody. The Marines are looking out. Their entire encirclement of God Valley, because they kind of set up a perimeter of Marine battleships, they're just getting bombarded. They're just getting obliterated. And like, oh my god, the west side of the island, the Rocks Pirates are here! Okay, this is really dark, but I'm gonna go ahead with it anyway. If I was the Marine that was like watching the shore and I see the Rocks Pirate flag, dude, this scene is how it should have unfolded. You know, he's on the border, he's on the shoreline, right? Like, he's next to a cliff, and then there's like a straight drop down, and then there's the Rocks Pirates. It's the Rocks Pirates! Well, okay. Ah! Like, that's the number of like, oh god, this is it. We're gonna die anyway, so whatever, okay? Rocks Pirates don't mess around, dude, okay? So we hear Rocks. We don't see him, but we hear him. He's like, give it up, you lousy Marines! Follow my lead, crew! Yeah! He's just shouting. And then we see the Rocks Pirate crew. We don't see every last solitary member, and we don't even get the info boxes, so we kind of have to just look at it and just kind of assume. I mean, some are obvious, others are kind of guesswork, but okay. So we don't see Rocks, but Rocks is like, charge ahead, men! First, we see Whitebeard. Whitebeard is 36 years old in this flashback. He's hardy, he's in the prime of his youth. And he's like, hey, Rocks, I don't take orders from you. When did I start taking orders from you, Rocks? Then, on Whitebeard's shoulder, because, Whitebeard's a big, bulky guy, we have a woman. And that woman is none other than the original Buckingham Stussy. So she's there on Whitebeard's shoulder, and it's just like, oh, Newgate, not you too. Okay, so we see her there. Then, to the right of Whitebeard, we have Gloriosa. Gloriosa, who is Granny Nyon, who was the former Empress of Amazon Lily, I believe 3 generations back before Boa. All right? So we've already known a little bit about her. She left Amazon Lily years ago. She got the love sickness, probably for Whitebeard, because everybody kind of does. But anyway, she left Amazon Lily to travel the world. She eventually wound up finding Boa when they escaped Marie's. Well, this was years later, because Boa's not even born yet at this point. But she left to travel the world, okay? So we see Gloriosa there. Remember, the way that this shakes down is Gloriosa was 3 generations back, then 2 generations back was Shaki as the Empress. I think we still don't know the former Empress before Boa was, if that was Boa's mom or somebody. I believe she is dead, though, and then there's Boa, who's the Empress right now. Granny Nyon, yeah, I didn't actually write down how old she was here, but she looks about Boa's age. She looks like she's around 30, and she looks pretty much just like Boa. I mean, she dresses just like Boa. She's got the, and the hair, and she's got her snake companion that is like her bow and everything. So she was on the Rocks crew too. Honestly, didn't expect that. I was expecting maybe Shaki, but we still ended up with a Amazon Lily Akuja Empress being on the Rocks crew. So holy shit, she is there. Behind Gloriosa, we have Shiki, the Golden Lion, making his first proper, actual, canon manga appearance. So I should just say that really quick. Of course, we all know and love Shiki from the hit One Piece movie, One Piece Strong World. It was a fabulous movie, absolutely great. Hold on. Ah, there he is. Shiki. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so Shiki was in the movie. He was also in Chapter 0. Now, Chapter 0 is canon. Oda did draw it. It's just like a normal chapter of One Piece, except it's Chapter 0. That was like a flashback, and it was like not released in regular like weekly format. It was like an extra thing that was released with the movie. It is canon, but but it wasn't in the normal string of chapters. Also, there was the cover page that features Crocus speaking with somebody. Ooh, it's probably Shiki here. So I guess you could say that, but we didn't know for certain. But this is the first time that in the regular string of chapters, you know, we have Shiki, the Golden Lion, appearing. He's got his two swords. He's wielding them. He doesn't have the legs yet. He eventually has to cut off his own legs to escape Impel Down and replaces it with his swords. I know one of his swords is like Oto. One is called Oto, and I think another one is like it's like Kagome or something. Not Kagome from Inuyasha, but you know, it's like that or whatever. He replaces his legs with swords. Okay, that's before all that happened. This was before he got the steering wheel jammed through his head. That happened at Ed War. That might be a thing in the manga or not, because when you see the cover page, this takes place in the present. This takes place like during the story, and we don't see a steering wheel sticking out of his head. So maybe he, just replaced it or got it rid of, or maybe that just never happened in the manga. That was something that only happened in the Strong World movie. Maybe Oda decided to change it. Who knows? But at any rate, yeah, Shiki is there. He's the Golden Lion, and we also have a shot down below where it's Whitebeard, Shiki, Big Mom, and Kaido one after another. I think in the Ace Light novels, it was mentioned that before Shanks became a Yonko, because Shanks came way later. Shanks is only a year old during this flashback. He is a baby. I think it was mentioned, though, that was one of the previous generations of Yonko. It was Whitebeard and Big Mom, sure. Then Kaido eventually grew up. He got a little older and he became one. And then Shiki was the fourth. Shiki was the Yonko before Blue Blood, and then Blue Blood, and then there's Shanks. Go watch One Piece D&D. There you go. But no, I think that was the shakedown, all right? So yeah, Shiki's really cool. I love Strong World. He was a fun guy. Eventually, he's going to team up with a clown and a monkey or some bullshit. I don't know. But before all that happens and he pilots a giant floating castle, he's here. Actually, I don't know if he has the float fruit yet. He seems to be... In the panel, it's either you could say he's jumping into the fray like this, or you could say he's floating into the fray. I'm not really sure, but he is there. Behind Shiki, we have Charlotte Linlin. We have Big Ma'am, and she is 30 years old in this flashback. Now, get ready for this little fun fact, all right? Big Mom at age 30, guess how many children she already has? Are you guys ready? Okay. It depends, because she has a child every year all the way up until when she was 60. So it depends. She doesn't look pregnant here, so I'm assuming she just gave birth to her 30th child. Okay, she's 30 years old. She already has 30 kids, because some kids like Opera and the quintuplets, they were born 5 at once. The child she had 38 years ago was Mont d'Or, the dude that's the Minister of Cheese, and he eventually gets the book fruit. He traps Luffy and Nami into the book in the prison library. Remember Mont d'Or. So Mont d'Or, I'm assuming, since Big Mom is not pregnant, must have been born, like, right before this. So there's baby Mont d'Or somewhere on the rock ship or back at Hachinosu or something. Perospero would be 12, Compote would be 11, Katakuri and Oven and Daifuku would be 10. And they are clearly not here right now. They're not involved in the battle yet. This is kind of intense. So it's Big Mom is there. We see Prometheus there. We don't see Zeus. I'm assuming Zeus is there too, or no, who knows? Maybe Big Mom created Prometheus first, although I think in the flashback when she was a little kid, when she started her pirate excursion, she already had Zeus and Prometheus, so Zeus is probably there too. So yeah, Big Mom has Mont d'Or, and the children she had before Mont d'Or that would be definitely born at this point would have been Lauren and Compo. Compo was the Minister of Pie. So yeah, they weren't very relevant during Totland, but these two would be 1 year old, and then you would have their twins, and then you would have Mont d'Or who would have just been born, okay? So there's Big Mom and what she's up to right now. Then behind Big Mom, of course, we have Kaido! The apprentice and the swabby. He swabs the poop deck, ladies and gentlemen. That's how Kaido uses his skills. Kaido is 21 here. He doesn't have his devil fruit yet, but he does have his Kanabo, Hasaikai, and he's like ready to charge in, okay? And it's actually kind of sad because Kaido is actually one of the more logical ones here. We have Whitebeard who's like, well, Whitebeard's logical too. He's like, that moron Rocks is just charging right in. He's gonna lose himself in this sea of nobles. He's just gonna gonna be slicing them apart. We gotta make sure the damn thing is here first, talking about the treasure that was stolen from them, okay? So Rox, the way that Whitebeard's speaking about Rox is he's just gonna lose himself in the carnage, okay? Which kind of lends belief to my theory that Rox is just absolutely insane and just going like nuts with it. Like, imagine Luffy, but dialed up to like 100, okay? Like that level of crazy battle hungry. Like Kenpachi Zaraki level, okay? So then we have Shiki, who is just like, hey, who died and put you in charge, Whitebeard, huh? And then Big Mom is like, yeah, you guys can argue all you want. I'll be the one to take the fruit. So this showcases just how unstable Rox's crew were. Can you imagine if all these guys got together and they were actually cooperating, they were working together as a cohesive unit? Nothing could have stopped them, okay? That was the brutal flaw that Rox had. He couldn't make a cohesive nakama, like his friends. They were all out at each other's throats, okay? And now obviously it seems like Stussy seemed to like Whitebeard and, you know, maybe stuff like that, but other than that, you know, they're all arguing with each other. Kaido, on the other hand, is kind of logical here. He's like, all right, guys, I got word that Roger's coming. We should be careful. And so because Roger's really dangerous, and Big Mom just kind of cuts him off and just like, yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter. We'll worry about that later. One thing at a time, Kaido dear. And Kaido's just like, no one pays attention to me. This sucks. Just like, so Kaido's the smart one. He's like, guys, it's like everybody's arguing and he's like the one logical person, like, guys, Roger's coming. I think we should worry. Shut up, Kaido. Okay. So that kind of sucks. We have a close-up of another woman. I'm assuming this is Gloriosa. We see her in an establishing shot first, then a close-up where she says, today's the day we settle this. Then we have Captain John, who's pounding back a big bottle of rum, and he's just like, yeah, that's right. Don't you forget it. Glug, glug, glug. So we see John in his younger years. We only saw him as a corpse up until now. Can I mention something? I'm a little confused, if anybody can enlighten me on this. I'm a little bit confused on how the shadows and the zombies work at Thriller Bark. Can we just go back to that for a moment? Just take a moment. Okay. The way that I assume this is how it worked is you have a corpse, and then you have a shadow. And then when the shadow animates the corpse, the personality of the zombie, that's the byproduct, will be the personality of the shadow. Right? Okay. Well, I'm a little confused because when John woke up on, you know, Thriller Bark as a general zombie, he was a drunk. And I assumed, oh, okay, the shadow that was given to him must have been an alcoholic. That's the reason he's drinking. Well, here, you know, we have Captain John as a living person, and he's clearly an alcoholic. He's clearly drinking like crazy, right? So he was always like that. So his personality was still the personality of his original personality, but it was a different shadow in the zombie. And then we have Ryuma, who exhibited Brook's voice and Brook's personality and Brook's sword technique. But Ryuma also was like, I am a samurai from Wano. It's like, I'm very confused by how this works. Is it a mix? Is it a mix between the original body, like Ryuma's corpse was like, I am Ryuma, I am the sword god of Wano. Yo! But I also fence now for some reason. And then with Captain John, it was like, I'm Captain John I was on the Rocks crew. Glug, glug, glug. But there was also a different personality of zombie in him. I don't know. It's just something that confuses me. It seems to go back and forth. I don't know. Anyway, then we get two individuals. We get one dude that's covered in heavy armor, like a full helmet, like heavy plate helmet. This dude looks a lot, since we are talking about Thriller Bark, this dude looks a lot like one of the general zombies. He looks like the big, hulking, giant general zombie dude decked out in all of the golden armor. It looks like that guy. And I'm going to say, that was Silver Axe. Although, granted, we also got another person on Thriller Bark that was a general zombie that uses a Silver Axe, so maybe that was Silver Axe. But I'm going to say the big hulking dude right here with the helmet is Silver Axe, because the next individual we see, we only see half of their face, and that's it. I guess they're wearing glasses, maybe. But I'm going to assume that man right there, that's Wang! Wang Xi! Wang Xi! I love you, Wang! I love you, Wang! Wang! I love Wang Xi! Yeah! Woo! I just realized, yeah, I guess that's all of them, right? We got Whitebeard, Shiki, Big Mom, Kaido, Stussy, Glorioso was added in, Captain John, and those two last individuals, one of them's Silver Axe and one of them's Wang, or Choku, but Wang, all right? I'm going to assume the last dude was Wang Ji, because I don't picture Wang Ji as this big hulking armor dude, although maybe he could be. Maybe the dude with the glasses is Silver Axe. I don't know. I don't even know anymore, man. I don't know anymore. But one of them probably is. Anyway, so that's the Rocks crew in their like full power right there. Oh, we also see another dude way in the background. He's just a random member jumping in the air with a pair of like Wolverine claws, like, you know, the claws on his arm like to attack. Clearly he's a member of the Rocks crew. Don't know who he is. Maybe that can't be Rocks himself, can it? I don't think that's Rocks. It doesn't look like he has Rocks' hair. He looks like he has a ponytail. Well, anyway, I bring that up because Blackbeard, when he was a kid, uses, you know, the Wolverine claws as his main weapon, and even later on in his adult life, he still uses those. That's how he caused the scar on Shanks' face. Where's Shanks at? Shanks is right here. So that's how he got the scar on Shanks' face, okay? So Rocks is connected to, Blackbeard is connected to Rocks in some way. The name of his flagship is the Saber of Zebek, Roxty Zebek. And we have a member of Rocks' crew using a pair of Wolverine claws, and then later Blackbeard uses the same kind of weapon. Once again, Blackbeard is, well, actually, I think Blackbeard is alive at this point, but he's only like 1 or 2 years old. He's I think, 40. I think he's 1 year older than Shanks, so he's 2 right now. So he could be Rocks' kid. That could be, maybe that's Blackbeard's dad way in the background right there, and we just didn't even, that's like, oh yeah, I'm just going to draw Blackbeard's father way in the background, everybody. Maybe, who knows? So, the battle is underway. The Rocks crew is landing on God Valley. All the Tenryubito are like, what is the meaning of this? Our tournament is interrupted. If anything happens to us, he's like, yes, calm down, sir. Calm down. We'll make sure nothing happens. Just stay away from the west side of the island, for God's sake. Then Roger's crew arrives. Yarg, me hearties. I be Goldie Roger in my younger days. I be a hearty 39 years old, matey. Let's go. So, yeah, Roger charges on the island. We see him without his trademark mustache. He just kind of has like a little bit of stubble. He's also still got the straw hat on him because he hasn't given it to Shanks yet, because he hasn't met Shanks yet. Shanks is still on the island somewhere in a treasure chest. Somebody is shoving Shanks in a treasure chest as we speak right now, ladies and gentlemen. Rayleigh's there. He looks relatively the same. Gabon looks the same. We see Millet Pine there, Sunbell, some of the other members of the crew. But yeah, Roger, he has long hair and he has just some stubble, but the mustache isn't a thing yet. Garling kind of walks up, and Garling is next to 2 other members of the Gods Knights. One is a very sexy woman that looks like Robin a little bit, actually. And then behind him, it took me a while to figure out this dude. There's a guy standing behind Garling. I guess he's also a God's Knight. He doesn't look like to have a normal face, and it took me a while. It's like a cow skull. You know, it's like a bull skull that he has like as a face. So he's just back there holding a scythe or something, and he's like, "Ugh." So that's like one of the members of the Gods Knights. Okay, so there you go. We just have it, what have you. And he's just like, oh yes, well, you know, the Marines are useless. Their encircling wall did nothing. All right, fine. I guess we'll have to, you know, solve the pirate problem ourselves. It makes it interesting, if nothing else. So the Gods Knights are getting ready to mobilize against Roger. Then Garp shows up. Garp's like, yes, we are here. And just like, oh my God, it's Garp. So it's just, I mean, like, honestly, if I was like, as one of the people that are being hunted right now, I would be like, this is insane. There are like 3 godly figures like clashing right now, or more than 3. There's like at least a dozen. You know what? I don't even care. I get my opportunity to get out of here. If not, I will die in style. Let's go, right? So Garp arrives. Bogart is also with him. There's some other Marines I don't really recognize. Actually, wait a minute. No, I don't think that's Comil. There's a Marine that's behind Garp. He has like a lion's mane of hair, and I'm thinking that might have been Comil for a second, but this was 38 years ago. I don't know. It might have been, but Bogart was there. So Bogart and Garp might be like, Bogart, I think, has to be in his younger years here. Bogart might be like 17 or something right here, because Bogart does not look that old later on in the manga. Garp is 78 right now. Bogart, how old would you say Bogart was? Bogart looks like he's like in his 50s maybe at most. Honestly, he honestly seemed like in his 40s to me. He did not seem that old, but I guess he is. 38 years ago. What's like the youngest he could possibly... Well, I guess Marco, when we saw Marco in the flashback with Odin, he was only 15. He was an apprentice pirate. So maybe Bogart is like a teenager right now, but that would still put him in his early 50s, like right now. I guess. I mean, yeah, I could see Bogart being like 52, 53 right now. Maybe he's the same age as like Ivankov or something. Ivankov's 53 right now. He's 15 in the backstory. So yeah, sure, I guess. But yeah, Bogart is a little older than I thought he was originally. So that is going on, and we honestly, all right, men, it's time for the greatest, epicest battle in the world. Darling, Garp, Roger, Rayleigh, Whitebeard, Rocks, Big Mom, Kaido's charging in, Shiki's got his swords, Wang Ji takes out his gun, Silver Axe takes out his axe, freaking Captain John takes out a giant bottle of vodka and spits fire, and shoop! We're just gonna cut away to see what Kuma and the gang are up to right now. Alright, so we don't get to see any of the battle, unfortunately. This is... I guess that makes sense. This is Kuma's backstory. Fine. Okay, so... we cut back over to Kuma and Ivankov, and they're booking it. They're getting the hell out of there. They managed to get their hands on both devil fruits. They found the Uuu no Mi, Model Azure Dragon, and the Niku Niku no Mi, the Pawpaw fruit. Ivankov is like right about to eat the dragon fruit, which, can you imagine how that would have went? Just picture Kaido's dragon, but with a giant Ivankov head. That would have been cool. But anyway, Big Mom shows up at the last minute and like grabs Ivankov and slams him into a wall. Just, oh, okay, that was a little close there. Oh, you almost ate the treasure. By the way, earlier it was mentioned by Kaido, like we're gonna get the treasure back, and Big Mom's like, I want it. And Kaido's like, it would be useless to you, Lin Lin, because she already has the power of the Soul fruit, so she couldn't eat it. So pretty much confirming that the treasure is the devil fruit. Maybe both of them, maybe just the dragon fruit, but you know, that's the treasure. So, Big Mom grabs it, Kuma has the paw fruit, and Ivankov's just like, Kuma, just eat the fruit, don't think about it, just eat the fruit, hurry, quickly! And so Kuma's like, I will protect everybody, gulp! And he eats the paw fruit, he gets the power, and then that's when Saturn shows up. Not in his demon spider thing form, ball form or whatever, but he shows up, and he just kind of knocks Kuma away with his, like, psychic scion powers or whatever. Just like, and it, like, knocks Kuma down. His head doesn't explode, though. He gets knocked down, and Saturn's there, and he's just like, I know you. You're that buccaneer brat. Well, you can either live as a slave or die. Nothing else can be tolerated for someone of your ilk. Alright? And then Kuma's kind of like, he's kind of rattled because he just got like blasted in the face by a psychic blast or whatever. Gets up, he's like, so wait, are you somebody who's important? I guess you were born important. I can't wrap my head around that, being born more important than other people. And some people born to be slaves. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I just don't get it. And then Saturn just kind of looks down, and Kuma says, I want to make everyone happy, like the sun god, like my dad told me. And then that's when Saturn just looks down on him, and he's like, and that is precisely why you people must be destroyed. You people must be annihilated. So that's the, cause of not just the Buccaneer race, but I'm sure a lot of other races. Any group of people that would dare give hope to the masses and attempt to overthrow the government needs to be eradicated, okay? So in this case, it's the Buccaneers, but I'm sure it's not just them, okay? So with that being said, we now just cut away. Yeah, I know, right? Kind of a precarious point to cut away. But, Saturn is just staring like, how did they get out of this? Ivankov is being strangled by Big Mom. Dragon fruit's in the play. Kuma just ate the paw fruit, got blasted by Saturn, and now he's just like, you will now die. Cut to 1 week later. Man, that was crazy how we got away from God Valley. Yeah, I know, right? Weird. Let's never talk about how we did it again. It's like, they'll talk about how they did it. I'm sure they will. Anyway, so the last shot we got at God Valley though was just a voiceover. We don't see them. We see Roger saying, "Hold it, Rocks," and then Rocks saying, "You're in my way, Roger," and then that's it. That's all we get. That fateful incident would soon be obscured in the shadows of history by the world government. So now we cut to the Sorbet Kingdom, I guess a couple of days later, a couple of weeks later, I'm not really sure. They made it all the way back to the South Blue. Wait a second. Well, no, they have Kuma's fruit. That was the whole point of that. Yeah, they were able to go from the west all the way to the south. So they were able to get all the way back to the Sorbet Kingdom using Kuma's ability. Ivankov was reading the paper, and Ivankov's like, this is insane. I can't believe that there's like no information in here except about Garp being the greatest marine hero ever. this is where Garp got the title, the hero. This is where it happened. It happened in God Valley. He gets the title of the Fist later when he fights Qin Zhao. I thought he originally got the hero title when he brought in Roger, but no, it was this moment. So the government covered it up in a way where the only story that was in the paper was, you know, Marine hero Vice Admiral Garp shows up and saves the day. That was the story. It kind of omits the part where Garp worked with Roger, omits the part with Rox, omits the part with the God's Knights, just all that other stuff, right? Ivankov also brings up that this Morgan's reporter kind of sucks. I think he mentions this Morgan's is nothing but a hack, you know? So Morgan's is the same age as Ivankov right now. Morgan's is only 15 years old. He's, I guess, a young reporter, you know, chomping at the bit to have the next big story kind of thing, right? I don't know if he's an albatross yet, but, you know, he's out there, I guess, writing big stories. He's a 15-year-old kid writing huge stories about the world, I guess. So that's where he got his start. By the way, a lot of people brought this up. I didn't realize it myself. The Sorbet Kingdom, all of the buildings, the architecture in Sorbet are based off of like ice cream pops, like popsicles and stuff, like little like shaped like ice cream. That makes sense. That's cool. That's a nice little touch there. So we're actually inside of a church right now, and Kuma is praying, you know, in the church, down on his knees. He's praying to everybody, and then Ivankov is there, and then he's just like, "Hey, how long are you gonna pray?" And he's just like, "Oh, I just want to pray for the people I couldn't help off the island." And Ivankov says, "Hey, man, don't sell yourself short. You managed to get 500 people off that island with your power. You saved 500. Now, when you factor in that there was like 10,000 people there, you could see why Kuma is a little bit upset and he's like praying for their lost souls, because a lot of people died on that island. I don't think the remaining, you know, 9,500 slaves and citizens and criminals, I don't think they got off the island alive. You know what I mean? There was a lot of death that happened there when the government just scrubbed the whole thing. But still, Kuma at 9 years old, right after he ate the fruit, was able to get away from Saturn, get away from Big Mom, and save 500 people. I'd say that is a win, okay? So for Kuma, I think he should definitely pat himself on the back on that one, right? I guess that Kuma's family lived in the church, because they kind of mention, oh, to think you would choose to live in a church. Okay, so there's like, I guess, this busted up old church on the edge of town. It looks a little bit rough. It's like covered in moss a little bit, so maybe Kuma decided to live in there and spruce everything up. We always see Kuma carrying the Bible, so it just connects back that he would be there. Religion doesn't really tie back into One Piece all that much, but we see what looks like just, we see crosses in One Piece. Crosses show up a couple of times. During Thriller Bark, Usopp had a cross, like, stay away, evil vampires, you know, and Nami got married to Absalom in a church that looked like, you know, an actual, like a Catholic church or something, right? So religion is a thing in One Piece. I guess there's a cross. I guess Jesus is a thing. I guess. I don't know. So maybe Joy Boy is Jesus. Who knows? Anyway, they're in a church, and Ivankov mentions to Kuma, those hands of yours are the hands of liberation now. And Kuma looks down at his hands with the paws, the paw prints, the paw pads. He's like, the hands of liberation. So it kind of sets up like what Kuma's going to become later on, right? Like what I have been given a mission, maybe a mission from on high. This is my calling, and I'm going to fulfill it. That's the idea, okay? I think that's what Oda's going for here. Like this, he's like, Kuma's looking at this like they're in a church. He's looking up, hands of liberation. They got the Bible. It's just like, maybe this is my purpose in life, something like that. Ivankov, meanwhile, is about to head off. He's just like, all right, everybody, well, this was fun. Well, I'm going to set off, and I'm going back to my kingdom, and I'm going to see the world and all that stuff. Ginny opts to stay behind with Kuma at Sorbet, so I'm thinking that Ginny and Ivankov weren't really blood-related. I'm thinking just because they were slaves, you know, she called him, like, oh, my big bro, but, like, they weren't actually related, because I don't think, like, you know, I don't think it's like, oh, okay, little sister, you're just going to stay here, I'm going to leave and go home. You know, I think they were just, like, you know, they met each other, and then they became, like, close friends, and that was it. So Ivankov is heading back home, I guess, to Kamabaka, and he's going to eventually become the queen of the Kamabaka Kingdom. That'll be nice later on. Ginny decides to stay in Sorbet with Kuma. And I'm not coming, big bro. I want to stay with Kuma while I think about what I'm going to do with my life. And so Ivankov just hops in a boat. He's like, take care, friends. We will meet again one day. Maybe Kuma and I will start some kind of revolutionary army at one point, but I don't know. So I think Ivankov's gonna leave, go back to his kingdom, travel the world a bit, and meet Dragon. And then Ivankov and Dragon are gonna meet. Ivankov's gonna bring up Kuma. Hey, there's this guy I know that's got these magic hands that can teleport people. I think we should bring him in on this freedom fighter operation. And then I think Dragon and Ivankov are gonna come back someday to the Sorbet, maybe in like 10 years or so when Kuma's a little older. And, you know, they're gonna make the freedom fighters, create the Revolutionary Army. Okay. We have Kuma chopping firewood, and there's that scene we saw before this one right here where Kuma's like bringing the firewood into town and everything, except Ginny's there with him. And they seem to be living together. There's a point where Kuma's made fun of because of his large size, like kids are throwing rocks at him and just like, you suck, yo, man, you're so big, man, what are you, some kind of giant monster? And then Ginny shows up and beats the crap out of them, like conks them on the head with a piece of wood. And then Kuma's like, oh, don't worry, Ginny, it's fine, don't hurt them. And he takes his paw pads, his hands, and he repels the pain. He, you know, bonks them on the head and the pain bubble comes out. He's like, oh, hey, the pain's gone. That's crazy, right? And so Kuma's there and he's just very happy. And then we cut to them living in the church together, eating dinner, and their bellies are full. Kuma calls Bonnie, he's like, oh, wow, you're a real glutton. No, not Bonnie, but Ginny. He's like, wow, you're a real glutton, aren't you? And Ginny is just like, I am, huh? And so this is definitely Bonnie's mom. You know, the similarities are very obvious here. At the end of the chapter, though, they just reminisce a little bit. Ginny says, well, Kuma, when did you become a slave? And he's like, well, when I was 4, I became a slave. He's like, oh, same with me. And so they just reminisce so much, and then she begins to cry, and then Kuma begins to cry, and it's because they are so happy. It's because they finally made it out of that horrible experience, and now they're together, and their bellies are full, and they can actually live the lives that they want to live, and they're happy with this. And so that's the end of the chapter, which I'm assuming is the end of the flashback for Kuma. This is also no break next week, so we'll, I guess, cut back to the action next week at Egghead. Oh my god, that was a train ride. That was an odyssey, ladies and gentlemen. That was a very intense chapter, and just... You know what, even if you want to say, oh man, we're cutting back to Kuma. No, seriously, those last scenes with Kuma and Ginny in the church and they're crying and they're just like, we're just so happy. And then like, this is happy moments for them. And you know what makes me at least a little bit happy for here, because we all know how Kuma's story ends, unfortunately. For the next couple of decades at least, or at least the next 10, 15 years, Kuma's life is going to be happy. He's going to be living with Ginny at the Sorbet Kingdom. It's going to be a happy life living in this church together. You know, they're going to grow up. They're going to get married. They're going to have Bonnie. Kuma's going to become the king of the kingdom, probably because he's just such a nice guy. He's going to build up a reputation of just being a genuinely nice guy that helps people. He's going to be like a miracle healer, except for realsies, because he has the power to do that. By the way, I find it funny that like Kuma just goes up and just like, oh, you know, your head hurts, okay, and then the bubble just pops out and just floats away. I'm just waiting for some random dude to be walking down the street and just be like, oh man, this is such a happy sunshiny day in the Sorbet Kingdom. Oh, look at here. What is this? Such a strange looking soap bubble. Ah! Ah! My hand is on fire! And it's like, I'm waiting for that to happen, but, you know, just like, yeah, Kuma's gonna heal a bunch of the townsfolk. He's gonna become, like, oh, wow, you're such a great guy. You should be king. I don't know if that's how that works, but okay, I'm the king. And then they're gonna have Bonnie, and it's gonna be a nice, Bonnie's gonna have a nice childhood. But eventually, Dragon and Ivankov are gonna return, and then Kuma's gonna join the freedom fighters, and then they'll eventually become the Revolutionary Army, and then becoming a warlord, and then becoming a become a PX-0. We all know how his story ends, but it's at least relieving. It's nice to know for at least the immediate future for Kuma and Ginny, it's going to be nice. It's going to be peaceful, okay? And so there's some happy days ahead of them, is what I'm saying. So yeah. I will make other videos about this. Long review, a lot of stuff to discuss. I guess we saw Wang, so I'm happy with that, I suppose. I was a little bit more excited because I was like seeing the spoilers and I'm like, oh, Wang's gonna show up finally! And like, okay, good enough, I guess, for right now. I'll take it. Okay, fine. Oda's just saving him for when he's gonna show up. You know, he's gonna be the real, like, the one who's gonna change the world here. Wang was the true captain, not Rocks. Okay, yeah. Anyway, it was really cool to see all the characters in their younger years and everything like that. Yeah, catch you back here next time, everybody. What'd you think of the chapters? Say it down below. This will be Teching 101 signing out. Bye, everybody. Whew.